Hi guys, today we're going to work on multiplying fractions um, using the area model. So if you can look at this first example, what you'll notice is that they split this square into thirds going up and down, and they shaded in one of them, and they shaded from the top to the bottom. And then going left to right, they split it into half. This is one half, this is the other half, using that line. And they shaded one of the halves. So they shaded this entire section up here with one half. And then your job is to look at how many pieces have overlapping colors. So for this example, how many pieces have yellow and green, not just green, not just yellow, but both colors. And I know it's a little hard to see, but this one piece is the only piece that is shaded both colors. So this would be one piece is shaded both colors, and there are 6 pieces in all. So our answer is 1, 6. So let's look at this next problem. All right, so we have 1/2. So we're going to come over here, and sometimes I like to write the fractions off to the side so we know. And I'm going to split this in half. So find the center and split it in half. And then I'm going to shade my half. All right, and then we're going to split it into fourths from top to bottom. So on the top, which I'm going to write this at the bottom so we can see. So going up and down, we're going to do fourths. So I draw 3 lines, make fourths. And I need to shade 3 of them. And now there's something I want you to pay very close attention to. Is be careful because a fourth runs from the top to the bottom. So yes, I know this is already shaded in pink, but we're going to shade it in again. We're going to shade in, this is 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, okay? We're not going to shade in this last section because it says we only have 3 out of the 4. So let's look at this again. So that's a fourth, the pink and the white section together. You have to pretend that this line in the middle is not here right now. So this is a fourth, this is the second fourth, and this is the third fourth, and that's what we're going to shade. Okay, so again, we're going to be overlapping our colors. So I know it's pink, but we're going to overlap it with blue. So we're going to start at the top, and we're going to go all the way down to the bottom. So this is our first fourth. Do the next one all the way top to bottom. That's our second one. And then here's our third one. Okay. Now, as you can tell, there are some boxes that have both colors shaded, okay? So there are how many? 1, 2, 3, okay? So our numerator is 3 because that's 3 pieces that are shaded both colors. But how many pieces are there in all? So you're going to count all of the blocks, and there are 8 of them, so 8 pieces. So 1/2 of 3/4 is 3/8. So what you had is you had a half and you took 3/4 of it. Or you had 3/4 and you took half of it. Either way, it's the same. Okay. Now, when you multiply 2 proper fractions, your answer is going to get smaller than what you started with. Okay. Now, another thing is we put a half on the left and we did the fourths on the bottom. It doesn't matter if I wanted to put the 3/4 here and put the 1/2 here. I can cut it either way. Okay. All right. Now my next problem is fifths. All right. So if we want to put 1/5 and then times 2/4. So we're going to put 2/4 down here at the bottom. Okay. And normally if this problem went here, I'd probably write it at the top. But remember, what's on this side is the same as what's on that side. All right, we're going to split from left to right in the fifths. So to make fifths, we need 4 lines. So do your best to split it pretty even. I know it's not always the easiest to split it even, but just do your best. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces, and I only need to shade one of them. So I take my one color, and I shade all the way across. Okay. All right, I'm going to give you a second to do yours. Now remember, shade all the way from the left to the right in that one section. Remember, we only needed one of the fifths. So there's going to be 4 of them that we didn't shade. Now we're going to do fourths. So to draw fourths, we need 3 lines. So I find it easiest if I go ahead and go do one right down the middle, and then come off to the middle of that section and draw one in the middle of this section and draw one. That gives me my fourths. Okay? So if you'll go ahead and draw your fourths. Now you're going to need to pick up your other color. So I used pink the first time. I'm going to use blue the second time. Now remember, it tells me I need to shade in 2 fourths. Now this is where we have to be careful because we have lines that run left to right that are fifths. We have to kind of ignore them right now and pretend they're not there because we're not shading in 2 blocks, okay? Now, if you know 2 fourths is the same as 1/2, so we're going to shade half of this shape, okay? So remember, from the top to the bottom is 1/4. This is 2 fourths, okay? So we're going to shade in 1 whole column and a second column, okay? And that would give me 2 fourths. We're going to pretend like the lines running across do not exist because that's with the fifths and we're dealing with the fourths right now, okay? Now, yes, we're going to shade over what we've already colored because we're going to start at the top and go all the way down to the bottom. So if we start at the top, come all the way down, that's 1/4. But I need 2, so I'm going to go over to the next one, and I'm going to shade top to bottom. All right, so now let's look. How many little squares are colored both pink and blue? Okay, it's got to be both colors. Not just blue, not just pink, but pink and blue in the same box. So if you'll notice right here, these 2 have both pink and blue. So this is going to be 2 as my numerator, because that's 2 that are shaded both. And there are how many little squares in all? There are 20. So our answer is 2/20. All right, let's do the next one together. 3/4 times 2/3. So this time I'm going to switch it around. I'm going to put 3/4 on the bottom, and I'm going to put 2/3 on the side. Remember, this is multiplication, so we can change the order if we would like. Okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut our shape. Now, before I was cutting left to right first. Okay? We can keep doing that, or we can cut up and down first. It doesn't matter. We've got to cut it both of them anyway. Okay, so let's do our thirds first. 2 lines to make thirds. And remember, when we're cutting these, we're always going to go from left all the way to the right, or we're going to go from top to bottom. We're not going to do one up and one across. All right, and it says we need to shade in 2 of them. Okay, so I'm going to take my pink and I'm going to shade in 2 of my thirds. And while you're cutting yours in the thirds and shading your 2/3, some people ask me, do you have to always shade the top 2? What about the one at the bottom? Well, if you wanted to, you could shade the middle one and the one at the bottom if you want to, just as long as you shade 2 out of the 3. All right, now we're going to do 3/4. So that means from top to bottom, we have to cut it in the fourths. So that means we have to draw 3 lines. So draw your 3 lines in to get fourths. All right, so we need 3 out of the 4. Okay, so let's look at this again. This is 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Remember, all the way from the top to the bottom. So I'm going to shade that in. that's 2. This is 3. All right, so you go ahead and shade yours in. And I'm going to give you a chance to write your answer at the top. So how many of these are shaded both colors? How many are shaded both colors? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that shaded both colors out of 12. Okay. Now remember, we started with 2/3 and we found 3/4 of that. So if you look here, we didn't even use the entire third. See, there's some extra left because we didn't take the whole 2/3. We only took part of it. Okay. All right, now let's do 6/8 times 1/2. I'm going to let you try this one on your own. So if you'll pause the video while the students are working. All right, so let's see how you did. So we have 6/8. That means we have to draw 8 lines, which means we need 8 pieces, which means we have to draw 7 lines. And 8 can be a lot of work. Okay, and we need to shade in 6 of them. So take one of my colors. That's 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. All right. So there's 6 out of the 8 shaded. Now I'm going to split it in half. So one line from the top to the bottom. And I've got to shade the half. Okay. And remember, you shade from the top all the way down to the bottom. And yes, I know we're coloring over. That's the point. We're trying to find which parts are colored over. All right, so how many did you decide were both colors? So if you count your pieces, there should be 6 of them that are both colors. How many are there in all? There are 16. All right. Now, I would like for you to do number 5 on your own. If you'll please pause the video. All right, so let's look at this problem. We have 1/3 times 1/7. So the first thing we're going to do is split it into thirds. And we're going to shade one of them. Well, I'm going to be a little different this time. I'm just going to shade the one at the bottom. If you shaded the one at the top, that's fine. You should get the same answer if you did it correctly. But I want to show you that it doesn't matter which one you shade. You still get the same answer. Now we need sevenths. So for sevenths, that means we need to draw 6 lines. And I am only going to shade one of them. So we're going to shade one whole column from top to bottom. Now, how many pieces are both colors? 1. And how many pieces are there in all? 21. Okay. All right, your job is to work on the rest of these.